Well, hi there, I'm Noah Bradley. This is Handmade House TV, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about the three most important considerations that you should keep in mind when purchasing your piece of land. So stay tuned. Well, all right, today we're going to talk about land, about your future property where you're going to build that dream handmade house of yours, and what should you keep in mind. And clearly, there's a lot of things to keep in mind. I thought about putting together a premium course on all of the considerations when it comes to building a piece of land, and there are plenty of them. But one of you guys sent a request to me, and I thought it was a pretty decent topic. Come up with the three most important considerations, what you should keep in mind with a property. And if you get those three right, probably the rest of them, or at least will fall into place, or you can live with it. So the number one consideration is water. You've got to have water on your property. And I have heard cases of individuals that bought a wooded tract of land and they didn't do enough research with regard to getting water on the property. And when it came time for them to drill a well, they couldn't get any water, and they actually ended up having to basically surrender the property, just walk away from it and keep it for whatever you use with a piece of land, with, I guess, raising your trees off of it or something, harvesting timber off of it. The ability to get water on your property is absolutely critical. A lot of times, individuals will actually make the offer to purchase the piece of land and make it conditional that they get a well off of it that satisfies them, and that they will, in the process of this, will actually pay for a well driller to come in and drill a well on the property before you close on the land, in order to make sure that you do have a supply of water there. That's the least risky, but of course, if you end up with no water coming out of it, you've lost the cost of paying for a well on somebody else's land. But you've sure gotten yourself out of a nightmare of investing in a piece of land without a well. A lot of times I won't go to that extreme, but what I will do is I will talk to the neighbors, and I will talk to the health department, and I'll talk to well drillers about that particular plot of land, that area, and the success that everyone's had with wells in that area. And generally, if neighbors on both sides of you got a good well, you'll get one as well. So it's very rare not to have one in that case, but you really need more water than that. And to me, water is at the top of the list because it's really hard to add water. If you've got a spring, you've got a tremendous source of free water that flows out of the ground. You can potentially back it up and build yourself a pond. Ponds are wonderful things to have as well. They will not only feed your livestock, can be sources of water for irrigation, but also food and for casual fun fishing, or for survival type situation where you'll have a abundant supply of fish. If you've ever watched any of these Survivor Alone type episodes on TV, you'll often find that starvation is the biggest problem, that hunting is very difficult to supply all of your food. But if you know how to fish and you've got a good supply of aqua life, you're probably going to do pretty well. It's a wonderful source. So whenever I'm looking for land, not only do I want to be able to get drinking water, but also I'd love having other sources of water, from spring to a creek to a pond to a lake to a river. I think that lake is probably the best. If you can get a lakefront property with a little bit of privacy, you've got yourself a real treasure trove there, something worth holding on to for a long, long time. Water is number one on the list there. Number two, and looking for things for consideration for it, is peace and quiet. You really want to spend some time on your land. The more time, the better. If I'm contemplating buying a piece of land, I'll typically will pack up a lawn chair and I will go to the property, and I will arrive there before the sun comes up, and I will stay there the entire day into the evening after sunset. And the reason for it is I'm really focused on the sounds, on the whether or not you find yourself in a neighborhood with a crazy barking dog, or next door neighbors that like to use gas powered weed eat leaf blowers or whatever every day, or argumentative people. You really, there's not a whole lot you can do to restore peace and quiet and the sounds of nature in your life. If you're interested in a handmade house, if you're interested in a better quality of life, in that lifestyle of building your own home and getting away from things, you really want to enjoy the area you live in. So open up your ears as well as your eyes when you're buying a piece of land, and listen, because that's what you're going to be hearing for a long time to come. Sometimes it can get better. A neighbor will move that has a barking dog, and also sometimes a neighbor will move in with a barking dog. So you want privacy and peace and quiet as much as possible. Your third consideration is that you really need to think this through as far as trees. Trees are absolutely wonderful things. Most individuals who want to build a log cabin in particular, or a handmade house in general, whether or not it's timber frame or stone, they imagine a wooded plot of land, and that includes myself. And that you want the beauty of trees. You love trees. You love the shade that they create. Tree houses. You name it. Also, there's abundance of material for you to use in building your home. You can harvest your own trees, you can earn a living, you can heat your own home. There's definitely security to that. I encourage everyone to have at least some of their land to be wooded. The benefits of getting a little bit of land that is part pasture and part woods is that you have all the benefits of a wooded parcel, but also you have a fresh, clean slate to work off of. You have pasture for animals, you have open space to create all the garden area you need. You have a wonderful night sky that I was really missing, because all those years I was just looking up through the trees to see whatever stars I could see. But by having a pasture, you have the full spectrum of the sky above you. But for me, the greatest benefit of it was that clean slate, the idea that I did not have the privilege to plant all of the amazing shrubs and trees and flowers out there that are available in order to create your own environment of all those special, wonderful things, to bring them together. That I really enjoy the process of having unique trees and shrubs and gardens laid out just the way that I wanted them or envisioned. It's a fun thing to have, and it's really difficult when you start out with a wooded plot. Yes, you can come in and plow and bulldoze all those trees out and create yourself a level spot. I do that as well. But the tendency is, for all of us, particularly the log cabin people, is that you want a wooded place and you want to take down extremely few trees, as little as possible, because you really want your home in the woods. And you miss out on a little bit by not having the pasture type thing. I think probably the ideal site for any particular home is right on that magic borderline between the trees and the pasture, to take advantage of the pasture but have those woods, have your home tucked right up to the edge of them. That's probably ideal. So those are my top three. Privacy and peace, as well as good source of water. And last of all, contemplate whether or not you want wooded or pasture, and consider the idea of getting both in one parcel of land. Well, that about wraps it up for this week's episode of Handmade House TV. Thank you once again for joining me here today. Thank you for all of your comments, likes, and shares you have for our videos here on Handmade House TV. And I invite you to come on over to handmadehouses.com and check out all of the free content we have over there. Sign up for our newsletter. which admittedly I haven't sent out any in a while, but I hope to get back into that groove soon enough. But the wonderful thing over there is all of my premium step-by-step courses. If you like what you got here, it's just a taste of what my courses have to offer. If you're contemplating building a handmade house, you can do it. You can build your own home. You can have a lot of fun doing it. You can save yourself a tremendous amount of money and create an amazing house. All you need is my guidance from all of my years of experience. Don't learn the hard way. Don't take decades to learn. Let me share with you what I've learned. And that wraps it up here for this week's episode. I look forward to seeing you here next week on Handmade House TV. And until then, you guys take care. Bye now.